Yo, what's up, y'all? What's going on? Back in business. All right, so yesterday I took off. I had to take care of a bunch of errands. Um, got a lot done though. So let's go ahead and jump right into today. Let me share my screen, entire screen. Boom. So I didn't take any trades yesterday. I did peek at the market a couple of times. My mentor, I know he made over 22,000 the day before, and then he made 7,000 Monday. But yesterday he lost 7,000. So, but I didn't take any trades this week. Currently, if we switch to my journal, this week I'm down $275. We didn't. Oh, excuse me. We didn't take a trade Monday. Yes, Tuesday he made 22,000. Yesterday he lost 7,000. I'm sorry. Last week he made he made a lot of money last week. It was crazy. He made a lot of money last week. But yeah, so I didn't take any trades, but everything like what I said in the pre-market actually took place. I've been learning how to doing these videos are good for me because it gives me an opportunity to practice prepping for the pre-market, uh, during the pre-market, before the market opens, right? And so it really helps to focus my mind, um, to be attentive to what's going on in the marketplace. So today, each day this month, for July, I've just been like, I could take a trade. I don't have to take a trade. And just coming in with that mindset of just, I'm just going to be patient. If I see the setup, then I see the setup. Again, I do trade live with my mentor, and so I'm paying close attention to the trades that he's eyeing, and not just to listen for the signal, but to pay close attention to what he's looking at, what he's looking for to, and so that I can replicate that, so I understand it and can replicate it on my own, not just copy his trades, but and that's what I've been doing. And another thing is he mentioned, so he posted a couple of videos this week too. And I did get a chance to watch those as I was doing doing my errands yesterday. And he said something interesting. He said, I've been back testing several strategies and I wanted to understand why these strategies don't work. Why 95% of traders fail with these strategies? Like, what is the primary purpose or reason behind these strategies? Why they work, and why some traders can't, find it difficult to use them. And so he practiced this for like he back tested these trades for like he said as early as 2024. I think he said 2023. I can't remember. But he back tested these for a while. And he noted, he said, if you can't explain the strategy within three sentences, five max, he said then it may be too complicated. It's too complicated. And he noticed that there are so many strategies that have too many complications involved, like in terms of being able to identify when you should enter a trade and being able to identify when you should exit the trade. And he said he noted those were the most significant issues. And the strategy that we use, like I said, it's a very, very simple strategy, and you look for it every day. And I've already went over it, but it's a simple break and retest, right? It's a simple break and retest, and all we're doing if I go to the charts, as you can see, currently there's several um, opening range um, moves you can make. You can use the pre-market, you can use the previous day high or previous day low, or you can use the first 5 minutes. Okay. And either one of these, whether it's the previous day high or low, pre-market high or low, or the first 5 minutes, first 5 minute high and first 5 minute low, either one of those, what you're waiting for is a breakout above and then a retest back to that same key level, right? At or near that key level. Once you get that retest, what you're looking for simply is either strong buyer reaction to the upside or strong or weak price action toward the downside, right? And so that's it. And the last thing that you need to do once you enter the trade, right? Well, you're actually doing this before you enter the trade is stick to your stop loss limit. So you've already established your stop loss limit. Like mine is 3 to 4%. Okay. It's 3 to 4%. And last week I didn't do this month. I haven't done that good with sticking to my stop loss. And I was actually up on this trade. I was up close to $500. And yeah, let me show. Anyway, my stop loss limit is 3 to 4%, but notice this 9%. This is okay. 23%, 9%, 11%, 11%, almost 12 on my July. If I had capped these, I'd be up this month. If I cap those to 3 to 4% as my strategy, um, as my for according to my strategy, right? Then I'd be up. And you can see, and this is why it's good to keep track of your trades because you need to be able to reflect and see what am I doing? What am I doing well? What am I doing right? And you can note what you did well, what you did wrong, even on the trades where you're green, right? Not just your red trades, but you can evaluate them both. And notice, like I said, on my green trades, as I mentioned before, I'm averaging well over 7%, right? If we're trying to get to 3 to 7% return on your money, I'm doing that. You can see I'm doing that on my wins. And I did that on this particular day too, on the 8th. I was up. I was up for these two trades over $500. So I would have been up 500 because I had lost this 500. But if I had kept at the 3 to 4%, I would have been up, like up over 1,000, right? Because I had this win, and this would have been for, anywhere between $3 to $500. And yeah, man. So that's it. It's just a simple breakout retest strategy. And the other thing that he noted that I thought was interesting is this is what you also want to understand is that no trade, no strategy works 100% of the time. So there's different market conditions that occur, right? And so with the strategy that we use, it's expected to work 60% of the time. 60%. Note my win percentage is around 53%. So, and you can see this is partly my fault, but I am close to that 60%, right? But this is partly my fault because I'm not stopping out when I need to. And I didn't take my wins, my profit when it was there. So I messed up yesterday because I let me show you. It's just a matter of like when you're at a key level, right? So it depends on your entry. Say this would have been your really low risk entry, but I got in here. Let's say I got in at this point on a retest to the 1 minute down close candle, right? So we get that retest and we have buyers step in. So I enter in this candle, and so now I'm up, right? So obviously the stock is gone, the stock prices went up, but then all of a sudden we have this pullback. Now pullbacks are expected, but what happened is I'm like, man, I know I'm expecting this pullback, but we had this like sell off. People were taking profit because we had a nice push to the upside, and then but we kept pulling back. Now we didn't break structure yet. Remember, I told you as long as we don't break structure, you can look to stay in the trade, but sometimes it can pull back so deeply based on where you entered the trade that you're taking a loss until the market recovers, till the price recovers again or stock recovers again and continues towards that trend, in that trend. But here's the thing, you don't know if it's going to continue, but you're waiting for other confluences to confirm. What do we look like on the higher time frames? Are we still in an uptrend? So if we're still in an uptrend on the higher time frames, then you should be good. And we were up on the higher time frame, so I still waited. But I was just like, man, this is just taking. It was taking so long. The trade was taking so long, and I had been in it for, as you can see, like 4 hours. And I don't typically, like, I'm not trying to stay in it that long, but I was going to hold these overnight because I just felt like the stock was going to continue. And it did. It did. It did yesterday. Look at this. So we had the pullback that stopped me out, because I'm stopped out here at this level. This is where we had that aggressive sell off. And I was going to stay in because I was like, man, if we don't break. Look, we came back a fourth time. We went up, came back a fourth time, and then we went back up, and then we came back, retested this zone, but now it's serving as support. Look, we have multiple touches here at this key level, and then we took off. Look at that. So imagine how much more money I would have had, and that's what I said. Sometimes it's just you have the right thesis, and then it's just a matter of like, are you going to sit through and accept this loss? And how much was it? It was 9%. So I went as high as 24 or 26%. So we didn't get there yet. And I was like, man, I should just go ahead and just sit in here and just wait as long as we don't break this level because we retested it so many times. And that's what you really like. Is obviously you want to see the stock take off, but sometimes, man, when you see that retest like two, three, four times, it's like, oh yeah, buyers are really holding this zone. So, and you can see, look at this. We held it multiple times. We held it here, 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 here. So, and then it's like that's when the stock is like building momentum. Like it's like, and it could drop. It could still, because I've been in trades where it did drop, but you can just stop out of it. And then obviously, yeah, you're gonna take that loss, but that doesn't happen every single time. And that's why what's important is your entry. So I felt like I should have just, when we reached the top, took my profit, right? Scaled out of the trade because I didn't scale out at all. Because I was just like, man, this stock is it's just about to pop. I feel like it's about to pop. So I didn't take my profit when we reached this top here. And we ended up coming back down. Oh no, which one is it? It's this one here. I think it's this one. Or was it? No, it was this where we came back down. So let me just double check. I entered 154. Yeah, so I entered on this 154 candle, a second entry. As you can see, I was already in and I exited at 154. Wait, that's not right. I gotta double check that. That's not right because it took off. So at 154, we took off and then we had this sell off. Yeah, we had this sell off and that's what I was sitting through. Oops. So it was either two or I think it was this one because we had this big push, man. And then we just started to sell off and I was like, "Oh man." And we just kept selling off, but we didn't you see we just didn't break below this price zone right here, 160. So we kept holding this 160 mark, 162 and change. And I was like, man, we it's this stock is gonna pop, man. I was hoping it would have did it the same day, but it did it the next day. It did it the next day. And analysts was saying that it was gonna pop to 163, and it went way above that, way above that. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's yesterday. This is where 154. So I was like, that didn't look right. 154. So here, I was here in it on this candle, but then we had this sell off. And I was like, dang. But I didn't feel like it was gonna break this level because we was already here three times prior, right? And so I was like, man, this stock is going to recover. But I was in it for so long already for the first initial trade of 4 hours. This one, yeah, because this isn't right. Because I was in at 154, and then we had a pullback all the way to this zone, but I had got out, and I was like, man, this sucks. So anyway, that's what happened. And this is why I wanted to show y'all, like, so today, same thing, I need to focus on A+ setups. Obviously, I'll be trading live with my mentor, so that helps because he definitely calls out these reminders, right? It's like for these psychological reminders. Hey, pay attention to this. Pay attention to this. Look at this. Here's what I'm looking for. Let's be patient. Let's wait for the other confluences to confirm the direction. Let's check cues and spy and make sure they're trending in the direction that we want them to trend in, and that it's leading to an A+ setup for our entry. And so all of those are very, very helpful. But if I'm not trading live with him, because he only does from market open for about an hour and a half, and then he's done for the day. And that's consistent every single time we trade live. He's just hour and a half, and that's about it. So sometimes the trade doesn't develop during that hour and a half, but the setup might present itself a bit later in the day. And so I'll occasionally peek in. That's why I want to be able to know this on my own so that I can enter, these trades based on what my mentor has been teaching me. And so with this coming into today, I must maintain my stop loss limit of 3 to 4%. I hate jumping out and then the stock just ends up taking off, but that's what I'm just gonna have to get used to that because when I stay in, I've just been getting burned, and you can see the numbers speak for themselves. The numbers are speaking for themselves, right? All right, so I can't argue with the numbers. So I have to stick to my stop loss. I did that. I respected that a lot last month, as you can see, for the most part. Um, and you can see my wins reflected that. A lot of my wins reflected that. Um, but I did have some lapses. But for the most part, I was sticking to it. I did have some lapses, but I was sticking to it for the most part. 3 to 4%. So that's what I have to get back to. 3 to 4%. Just cap it, man, and just be done. That's what I'm going to do coming into today. Now let's take a look at. Let's go ahead and jump into the news because I wanted to show y'all that because that's part of the trading journey, right? This is my first year day trading. So, excuse me, I want to give you all a quick recap of the previous activity and then what it's going to look like coming into today. So that way, under full transparency, I take you behind the veil of day trading so you can see exactly what I'm doing. So obviously, last month was a phenomenal month for me. Walked away with well over $5,000 in gains. So let's see what happens this month. Oh, I forgot. The last thing to mention, my mentor mentioned, he says for these A plus setups, you can expect at least 10 to 15 of these per month. 10 to 15. That's it. He said 10 to 15. So when you get those, now you need to be thinking, okay, I've already had 10 A plus setups. So now I need to be even more cautious and patient. And if the trade doesn't present itself, then hey, call it a day. Call it a day. Part of my goal for investing in this aspect in this investment vehicle, we day trading, stock options, is time freedom. Like I don't want to be here all day, but obviously, I have to manually enter these trades and manually these trades. But I'm setting up a as I continue to learn this strategy, I'm writing scripts to help me move towards automating this process, right? So that's what we're looking for. Now, coming into today, we're going to jump right into the news and see what's potentially impacting the market or will potentially impact the market. And then I'll jump right into my strategy and call it a day. Okay. So we did have some red folder news at 12:30. We have some orange folder news coming in at 9 a.m. So that could potentially impact the market. And then some more red folder news at 8:30 and 9. Let's take a look at the stock. So we did close at 295 yesterday, and we're up $3 in the pre-market, basically. All right. So we'll see what happens. And it looks like there was some news. What does it say? Tesla shares fell nearly 7% after CEO Elon Musk rejected calls for a tighter board oversight and a new compensation package, raising concerns about distractions amid key development phases. Let me refresh. Whoa, he's about to hit 400 billion. Did y'all see that? 400 billion. So now, and this is the other thing. I told y'all like that Nvidia hits the 4 trillion milestone, which makes it the most valuable tech stock, um, even above Tesla right now. So I think it said 4 trillion history to hit a 4 trillion valuation. Man, that's crazy. That set a new closing record, beating the 3.9 trillion value reached by Apple in December. Tesla CEO startup XAI launched its new chatbot Grok 4 on Thursday. Okay, so um we might see some activity here. Let's see. Nvidia is also planning to launch a new AI chip designed specifically for China. Wow. AMD gained 1.2%. So this was nice, man. I was actually in this trade. Y'all gonna laugh at me. I was actually in this trade at was it 160? think it was at one. No, no, no. Sorry, 127. I was in at 127. My first mentor had me in at 127. But we were it was during that phase where, man, the stock just kept, dropping. So I was losing like money. And my mentor, he wasn't really like explaining it to me. Um and I was just like he wasn't giving me like a heads up, like, hey, here's the market, here's what's happening. And I'm just seeing the losses, right? And I'm just like, yo, bro, what's going on here? So I had decided to pull out of Nvidia at that point. And I was like, yeah, we could recover. And I was like, we may do that. And he was like, this could happen anytime. Like it could happen. This was like around May. I think I got out at May. And then he was like, but it could happen in April, it can happen in June, or it can happen in July, but it's going to happen. And I was like, yeah, but bro, what are we doing about making money meanwhile? Not just letting, me suffer losses. That wasn't the goal. I'm like, I want to make money too. So what are we doing to make money while we, you know, do this? And, because of that, that's why I got out. And then now we hit, this high of 163. So, but that's just the way that's just the way it goes. So I would have been up um what, $40, almost $40. So that would have been a nice piece of change, what I mean, to work with today, but it is what it is. But I'm like, man, I want to focus on making money. So that's why I focus my concentration on day trading. Obviously, this is the lower tier of the investment phase in terms of stocks. You want to buy stocks for the long term, buy them at the low, and then, so that you can capture those gains when they, capture momentum and shoot up, to the upside. But yeah, that's what it is, man. So anyway, back to the news. Let's see. Let's get back here. 39 Tesla vehicles to have Grok AI next week. Okay. So y'all saw that, right? We had, where's that at? I thought I just saw Grok AI. SpaceX just made Elon Musk 20 billion richer. Wow, 50 more billion following a capital raise and stock sales by insiders. So that's, I'm just like, man, this man is still making money, man. You spent 300 million on an election, and then you make 20 billion 6 months later. Like, that's crazy, man. Like, this guy, he's worth 160 billion. His Tesla stake, including contested stock options, is worth 220 billion overall, including his other companies, including XAI. Musk's net worth is north of 400 billion. It's a lot of money. Like, right, one sentence, one small simple sentence, but that's a lot of money, man. That's crazy. It comes after an interesting time has threatened to take government business away from SpaceX, calling Musk a train wreck. But he's not, though. That man knows what he's doing, man, when it comes to this stuff. Now, I'm not so sure about the politics side, but he has this agenda. And when he sets his mind on something, that's the thing. I've been watching documentaries on Elon, back in previously in the past. And when this man sets his mind on something, he locks in like a pit bull. So we'll see. We will see, because he definitely locks in. He definitely locks in. So it looks like he's sinking his teeth even further into this politics arena. So we'll see. Hey, look, if he succeeded in these other ventures, man, why couldn't he succeed here? And he didn't always start out right, where it's like this, he one right out the gate or hit the ball right out the park, on the first swing. It just didn't happen that way. These developments happened over time, and he had to take huge losses in the beginning, as he was building up momentum. But now look at where Tesla and SpaceX is, and look at where X is and XAI. And so, like I said, keep an eye out on the AI side of things because he's driving his companies towards becoming just strictly um not strictly but overall tech companies. And that's the thing, they're not just, it's not just social media, it's not just electric vehicles, it's not just space, um but it's SpaceX. You see what I'm saying? Did y'all catch that? No pun intended. All right. So back to the news. Let's see what we got here. I can't see that grok, but I'm seeing we could have some activity here. Tesla board sets November 6th as date of annual meeting. So we'll see what happens there. Trump says Fed Powell job is easy. Yeah, okay, buddy. Some of the things he says, man, is just it's mind boggling. Tesla. Okay, so we got that. Grok. Oh, that's where it is. Grok AI to be available in Tesla vehicles next week. So this is probably why the stock is going up. So let's take a look, y'all. Let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this here. See what I mean when we get this? We came back, retested this pricing zone several times, and then took off. Now we might have this aggressive, sell off too. But as long as we can maintain a key level, like buyers held this pricing zone. So you can see this is what I'm talking about. And then that to me is what I've been seeing is a pattern where what's developing is this building up liquidity. You're building up liquidity. And then the way we lose liquidity, which is described as a liquidity sweep, is when you break below these levels. But I don't really see that. I don't see that happening often. I haven't seen it often since, for this year as I've been day trading, these past couple of months, not couple, few months, right? Um, so when I see this happening, boom, 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 then I'm saying liquidity is being built up. Then we go for a run. This is what you're looking for because you can make a lot of money. This is how my mentor makes a lot of money. He sees this happening, and and right out the market gate, like you can see in the pre-market, it's like, okay, we're building up liquidity, and then boom, we hit this run, and then you see this activity happen in the opening, not really towards the end of the day, but obviously this took towards the end of the day. So we had this really quick aggressive push to the upside, but then we had this aggressive sell-off as well. And then boom, we were building up liquidity with these higher lows, but then we dropped. So this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. But normally when you see like this, if we box this in, right? If we box this in, you can see like this zone is being held. We're coming back several times. Um, and we're not really making higher lows. It's in between, like it's just consolidation. It's not like this. It's not like we had this aggressive push to the upside, but this is after a drop, and we're not really hitting, higher highs. We're staying within this range. So even the highs are like maybe it might push a little, close to the creating a new high from the previous lows or previous highs. Excuse me, from the previous highs, but we don't make new highs. See, notice the difference here is we pushed right off the back from the open, made this new high, came back, but then we didn't make new highs, right? But we started to gain momentum with these higher lows. But here we made a new high based from the previous high, but we just began to sell off. And then we came all the way back down to this zone, pushed up, came back down, pushed up, came back down, pushed up, pull back down. So this, if we box this in, this will be consolidation. Okay. So now, which direction is the stock going to move? So we're waiting for a breakout out of that zone. And here's the breakout, right? We have the breakout above with strong price action. Look at the strong price action. Okay. So this is a perfect example. So we have the breakout with strong, like, uh, price action from the buyers, right? So if we have this, we got this strong push. Now, what are we waiting for after we have a breakout? We're waiting for a retest to this same zone. Okay. So we're waiting for a retest, and we get that perfect retest at 296.03. So we get this retest. That's what you can see. Like, we built up momentum, and you can see this happening even in the pre market, from the post market to the pre market from the previous day. And we can see, are we retesting these key zones? Are we building up liquidity to break out towards the upside or towards the downside? And if we do, we'll be looking for that breakout. And then once we have that breakout, we want to see a retest. And once we have that retest, we want to capture that, because you can enter in aggressively, with a low risk, because this will be low risk. Your stop would be just below this 296.03. So you can enter here, and that's fine. It's considered an aggressive entry, but it's low risk. And these are what I like. I like to enter these because I can sit in a little bit longer, because typically the trade will, continue to push based on what you see here. And then you could take that trade up to this point here. So this is where your target is. If it moves beyond this target, cool. So it's either going to become, reach near, well, let's do it this way. It's going to reach near or above the target, right? So you need to be prepared to sell, have your confirmation screen ready. And so as soon as it reaches close to this target, you can sell. As long as here's the key that you're looking for. You want to sell into the strength of buying, right? So when you see a good push of that candle, it doesn't have to supersede or break above this level. It just need to be a push. It could be from here and a huge buyer push, up to this zone. Then you take off profits, right? You scale out of your trade. So if you've, bought 4 contracts, you can scale out of 50% or 75% and just keep a trailing contract there. If you bought 10, you can scale out of 25% or 50%. It's up to you. Or you can scale out of the entire trade. It's up to you. Because typically it can reach near or above. It doesn't always reach. Sometimes I've seen it, reach here and snap back quickly. So that's why I say you got to be ready to, exit your scale out of your trade once you see that push. As soon as you see that push, you sell, because you're gonna get that money. Because when they close, when they confirm the order, it's gonna be like, okay, yep, boom, 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 as the stock is pushing up. So that's what you want to sell as the stock is pushing up. So this was a perfect example of what I was talking about. Okay, breakout, retest, and then you can keep trailing contracts, because it's like, okay, I could stay through this, but if we come back and retest this zone, I can keep that, that those trailers. But if we break below it, you can say to yourself, make a decision, exit the trade entirely, the position entirely, or just hold it for the next day to see if we continue to push up. And look, that would have been a winner. So if we open today and aggressively push up, man, you're making even more money, like Nvidia did, like I showed you guys with Nvidia. So coming into today, what I'd be looking for, remember we talked about, we have the pre-market, high and low, previous day high and low, and then the first 5 minutes. So it depends on where we are positioned in the pre-market. That's what you want to look at. So obviously, because we're so far away from the previous day high and the previous day low, we want to focus on the pre-market high and pre-market low. Now, what we can do is wait for the first 5 minutes or the first 15 minutes. And the reason for both The reason why we have those two is because within the first 5 minutes or the first 5 minutes, it could pick a direction or it could continue to range or consolidate within the first 5 minutes. And if that happens, if we do range or consolidate within the first 5 minutes, then we wait for higher time frame confirmation, which is the first 15 minutes. Either way, we're waiting for a breakout above or below that zone. Okay. 5 minute high, 5 minute low, or 15-minute high, 15-minute low. And you will see that it typically coincides with this zone, right? It'll typically coincide with this zone, meaning that it'll be close to this zone. Either it's going to be close to the pre-market high or close to the pre-market low. You can see we're already here near it. So we came back, pushed up here. So now we'd be waiting for a reaction to see, okay, what's the reaction once we see 299.78 again, once we reach that point. So coming into the open, what I'd like to see is it looks like we might start off aggressive. There might be an aggressive push and we might break above 299.78. And if so, then I'd be waiting for the retest of this zone. Check the reaction, right? We can come near or we can even break a little bit below. Um, but what we'd be looking for is once we see the reaction to determine which side, which direction we're headed in, we will see will buyers maintain this key level of 299.78 and continue to push the stock higher, or will sellers step in aggressively and push the stock lower? Either way, we're waiting for strong price action to confirm, right? If we're going to continue toward the upside. So if we get that strong price action, then I'll look to enter the trade to reach, right, high of day, which would be this 389 zone, right? This is just an example, okay? So this is what I'd be looking for. We could um, come in the open, react. There could be reaction off of this zone, and we can immediately reject off of this level and drop towards 297.14. If we do that, again, same thing, rinse and repeat. Check the reaction off of this key level. Are buyers going to step in aggressively and push the stock up, or are we going to continue heavy towards the previous day low? If buyers step in, again, I'll be looking to enter my trade for continuation to the upside toward 299.78. Okay, so that's the range I'll be looking for. And because we haven't yet broke above this level, but I like this low risk entry at this level here. Typically, you wait for either a breakout above this key pre-market high or a retest of this pre-market low, right? Or a strong buyer reaction off of this pre-market low. So those are the two things we could be looking for: strong reaction off of this key level or retest of this key level. Same thing with the pre-market high, right? So if sellers step in aggressively and push the stock lower, same thing, right? We could be looking for a retest to see if 297.14 will now become resistance, and see if sellers will continue to push the stock lower, or if buyers will step in aggressively and push the stock higher towards the pre-market high again. If we come back and retest this zone 297.14 and sellers there's weak price action, then I'll look to enter a trade for a scalping opportunity. If the QQQ and SPY is showing that, but I'll look if this looks like if there's weak price action and I could take this low risk entry, then I'll take it for a scalping opportunity towards um the low of day, which is 295.88. Depending on it, this is obviously an example, but if this is the case, this is where I'll be taking that scalping opportunity towards. And then you can leave, you can get out, exit the majority. It's because this is higher time frame confirmation, right? And we're trending up. You don't really want to hold on to these scalps towards the downside. because it's the opposite of the direction of where the stock is currently trending, right? So if you, I would exit the majority of my position to keep like maybe a trailing contract, because if we continue heavy for a little bit longer, maybe to 295, hey, but we may not reach 293.55. We may not reach that. But if you got a trailer, you can make a little bit more money just in case it does. But if we only have that one trailing contract and we decide to reverse aggressively, then it's no big deal because you only got the trailing contract and you've already took the majority of your gains. So coming into today, that's what I'll be looking for. It looks like we're already about to test this zone. And so we'll see the reaction off this 299.78. Again, we could push higher right out the gate. But if we do, cool. Then I'll be looking for that A plus setup, get a nice retest of that zone, check to see if the reaction, if buyers hold that zone and step in aggressively, then I'll take the trade toward the upside, towards high of day, like I said. Um, but we have room because we have a few targets. We have a few targets. So the next target would be 304. And after that, I got 322, so I might need to look for a new zone, but we got a ways to go. So that's what I'll be looking for coming into today. So I'm going to call it a wrap here and get ready for the market open. So I'm going to call it a day early because Superman comes out and I'm going to see Superman. Let me see, what is it? Let me check and see when is it open. Superman. Dang, it's already full, y'all. It's already almost full. Dang, it comes out at 6. Dang, man. I wanted to be in that joint. I was hoping they had an early seat. Yo, this joint is almost full. Jeez. Jeez. That's crazy. 6 p.m. Mm-mm-mm. All right, y'all. Well, I'm dropping the mic right here. It's your man Ace. I'm going to sign out on that note. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow. All right, I'm out. Dropping the mic right here.